Love is when you take away the feelings, the passion, and the romance in a relationship and find out you still care for that person. I kicked the bathroom door so hard that the frame shook, the toothbrush cup fell, and the mirror rattled like thunder. Water ran inside. My wife's sobs were loud, now deep, hot, and tired, like someone crying into a wet towel. It was past midnight in Surulere. The generator across the fence hummed. Our bulbs flickered back to life after Nipa came back. I had begged. I had waited. I had called her name. Inkem, please open. She did not answer. She only turned the tap to hide her crying, the same way she did after every time we go intimate. And tonight, something in me broke. My bare foot hit the wood again. The latch snapped. The door flew inward, and what I saw on the other side froze my breath in my throat. Grab your popcorn as we dive into the story. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be the first to know when I drop new stories. I am Femi Adebayo, a project supervisor at a delivery hub in Yaba. I plan routes, watch weather, and make sure riders deliver packages from Ikeja to Lekki on time. I like neat lines and clear lists. I believe if you arrange your day like traffic lights: green to go, yellow to slow, red to stop, life will be safe. Nkem does not live like that. She is the kind of person who laughs with her eyes first. On Sundays, she stands by the window and sings while the kettle boils. On weekdays, she ties a bright scarf and heads to Balogun Market to pick fabric for her fashion page. Her hands are soft, but strong enough to guide cloth under a sewing machine. She speaks gentle Igbo to her mother on the phone and quick Yoruba to our neighbor's little boy when he runs into our kitchen for puff-puff. She tells me, Femi, I want our home warm and clean and simple. And our one bedroom on Randall Avenue is exactly that. A small sofa, a wedding photo, a steady fan, a bed that creaks when you laugh too much. We married in March 2022. The sky that day was clear like washed glass. You could see Third Mainland Bridge from the reception hall balcony if you leaned far enough. Friends danced. Aunties sprayed money. Someone shouted, "New couple, kiss." And I touched her cheek because I did not want to crush her lipstick. That night, after prayers, I learned my wife keeps a secret. After our first night of being intimate, my wife slid out of bed, took her wrapper, and walked to the bathroom. She locked the door. I heard water, then a sound that did not fit the night. A small, sharp sob, covered by the running tap. At first, I did not think much of it. I told myself, she is shy. She needs space. Some people like privacy. I lay there, feeling my heart slow down, counting the tiny holes in the ceiling. She came back 10 minutes later. Skin damp, eyes slightly red, smile fixed like the photo on the wall. "Are you okay?" I asked. She nodded fast. "I'm fine." The second time, the sobs were not small. They rolled out like waves trying to hide in a bucket. "Nkem," I whispered against the door. "What is it?" She said, "It's nothing, please." Her voice was tight. She turned the tap higher. Days were kind and smooth. Nights were not. In the day, we were a simple Lagos couple who shared last slices of bread and held hands while crossing Ojuelegba. We took BRT to visit my sister in CMS. We argued about pepper in the stew and who should wash plates. She stitched a powder blue senator for me and made a matching cap. I got an extra shift so we could save for a bigger place. We laughed, we planned, we prayed. But at night, after our bodies touched and our breathing slowed, she carried her sadness like a small bag to the bathroom and locked it inside with herself. I told myself, wait, she will talk when she is ready. I tried to be patient. I made ginger tea and left it by the sink. I played soft music in the living room to make the house feel safer. I placed a nightlight so she would not fear the dark. I stood and held her hand once when she reached for the bathroom handle. "You don't have to go," I said. She smiled and went anyway. The third week after our wedding, I found a card in her handbag while I searched for my missing earbuds. It was a hospital appointment slip. Lu eat. Department, Women's Health. Date, 2 days earlier. Time, 3 p.m. Doctor, Musa. My heart knocked once, hard. I put the card back in the black purse, exactly where I found it. That evening, when she returned from the market, I tried to ask with a soft voice, "Babe, how was your day?" "Fine. Did you go anywhere else?" "Just market." I wanted to say Luth, but the word rose like a stone in my throat and dropped back down. I told myself, she didn't tell you because she is not ready. Another night, after we made love, she ran to the bathroom so fast, the bedsheet dragged with her. The lock clicked. I sat up. Something felt wrong. The sobs sounded like they were cutting her from the inside. "Nkem, talk to me." No reply. The tap roared. I stood by the door and placed my hand on the wood as if I could pass comfort through it. "I'm here," I said. "I'm your husband. Please let me help." The only answer was water. The next morning, she cooked yam and egg and teased me about how I arrange my socks by color. She hugged me at the door and told me not to work too late. The house smelt like onions and soap. Sunlight crawled across the rug. It was like the night had never happened. But it had. My chest knew it had. At work in Yaba, I stared at delivery maps while my mind tried to read a different map, one that led to my wife's hidden room. I thought of questions I was afraid to ask. Did I hurt her without knowing? Was there something wrong with me? Was there someone else? Was she sick? Was there a memory that lived in the sound of running water? By Friday, Lagos rain fell like curtains. I picked her up at Tejuosho with an umbrella. She laughed as we ran to the car. As we drove, we passed young men selling wipers and plantain chips. The road to Ojuelegba pooled with brown water. She placed her head on my shoulder and hummed to the radio. For a moment, everything was easy and full. I thought, maybe tonight will be different. It wasn't. That night, after. I watched her sit up. She did not look at me. She walked to the bathroom, fast but careful, like someone carrying a glass of water filled to the brim. The lock clicked. The water came on. Then the sobs started, louder than rain. "Kem, please," I said, my voice shaking. "Open the door. Just tell me what it is. I will not judge. I will not be angry. I love you." I heard a gasp, a choke, and the clatter of something metal hitting tile. I stood there, hand on the door, and I knew I had reached the end of patience. Not because I was tired of her pain, but because the pain was swallowing her, and I was watching it do that. A husband should not stand in a quiet room and count his wife's sobs like a clock. I did not kick that night. I went to the living room and sat on the floor and cried quietly so she would not hear. After a while, the water stopped. The lock turned. She came out with a towel around her shoulders, eyes swollen, lips pressed tight, cheeks pale. "We need to talk," I said. She nodded, but her head kept shaking like it did not belong to her. "Tomorrow," she said. "Please." We slept without touching. The next day, she avoided me like a cat avoiding a puddle. She cleaned, she washed, she arranged. She left for Balagun early. I sent a message. "I love you. I am here." 2 blue ticks. No reply. In the afternoon, the clouds over Lagos pushed and pulled like a slow fight. I worked late and biked home early. I took her small phone to work because I had to fix mine. On the way, a call came to her phone in the cup holder. Dr. Musa. The name flashed and flashed. I felt my fingers grow cold on the bike handle. I parked by a kiosk beside a tailor who was ironing a cream lace blouse. The phone stopped ringing. I placed it back face down. My chest beat low and hard like a drum at a funeral. When I reached our compound, the air was thick and wet. Children chased a ball. A generator coughed. I climbed the stairs and opened the door. Nkem sat on the sofa, staring at nothing. The TV was on mute. The kettle was boiling and boiling. She did not seem to hear it. When she noticed me, she stood fast and forced a smile that broke in the middle. Dr. Musa called, I said. She closed her eyes. A long silence stretched between us, like Third Mainland Bridge at night. I can explain, she whispered. Please do. Not now, she said, voice thin. Please, Femi. Tonight? After I will try to talk. Her voice shook on the word, try. I nodded. It was a slow, heavy nod that felt like carrying a sack of rice up the stairs. Night came slow. The rain returned. The room felt small, like the walls had taken 2 steps forward. We prayed. We held hands. Then we held each other. I looked in her eyes the whole time and saw a boat rocking on a dark river. We lay quiet. She shifted. She sat up. She reached for her wrapper. Nkem, I said. Please. She paused. Back turned to me. Her shoulders trembled. She could not finish the sentence. She stood and walked to the bathroom. The lock clicked. The water came on. Her sobs came like thunder, following lightning. Something inside me stood up straight. I walked to the door, put my palm flat against it, and spoke like a man who has nothing left but honesty. I will not leave you alone in this anymore. If you won't open, I will come in. No answer. Open the door, I said again. Only water. I stepped back, planted my right foot, and drove it into the wood near the latch. The whole door jumped. Inside, metal clinked. Nkem, I called. Silence for a breath. Then one more sob. The sound was small, like a child left in a dark room. My heart broke and caught fire at the same time. I kicked again. The frame splintered. A screw popped and bounced across the tile. The latch surrendered with a dry snap. The door flew inward. For a long second, the room looked like a place I did not know. Steam drifted from the hot water. The mirror was fogged, but a part of it had been wiped clear by a trembling hand. The tiny window rattled in the wind. A red scarf hung from the hook and swayed as if someone had just touched it. On the sink, there was the hospital card from LUET, a small empty pill packet, and a folded letter with my name on it. The floor mat was soaking. Nkem stood by the corner, wrapped in a towel, knees drawn to her chest, back against the wall like she was trying to become part of it. But it was not these things that locked my legs in place. It was the way both her palms pressed hard on her belly, the way her eyes were fixed on the floor, drain as if it was a hole that could swallow secrets, and the faint, bright line of something red running along the tile, breaking and joining, like a sentence written by a shaking hand. Her face lifted when the door crashed open. She looked at me as if I had dragged the moon into our bathroom. Femi, don't. My mind tried to take 10 steps at once. What happened? Are you hurt? Is that blood yours? Is it from now? From before? What did the doctor say? Why didn't you tell me? What did I miss? Who did this to you? If not the shadow of a memory. My mouth moved, but no words came out. Nkem's lips trembled. Her eyes begged me not to come closer, as if love itself could make something worse. The letter on the sink had a small wet mark on the corner, where a tear had fallen. The water kept running. The whole room sounded like rain trapped in a bottle. I took one step in. The tile felt cold and slippery under my foot. Please, I said, almost to myself. Please. And then she said a sentence that made the floor tilt under me. Femi, I have been trying to wash away a night that never leaves. I opened my mouth to ask, which night? But my voice refused to climb out. Nkem closed her eyes, took a thin breath, and whispered, I wanted to tell you on our wedding night. I tried. I failed. Every time. I promised myself that after we made love, I will speak. But the moment ends, and the fear comes, and I run here. I turn on the water, so you won't hear how much it hurts to remember. I thought if I kept washing, maybe the memory would leave. It doesn't. Her eyes opened again and landed on mine, like a hand reaching across a river. If you want to go now, I will understand, she said, shivering under the steam. But if you will stay, I will show you everything. She looked down at the folded letter. I looked at the door I had broken. Between us was the red line winding toward the drain. My foot took another slow step. I reached for the letter, and in that exact second, before my fingers touched the wet paper, Something else on the sink vibrated and lit up. Dr. Musa was calling again. The bathroom was silent, except for the rushing tap and the shrill buzz of the phone on the sink. Dr. Musa, the glowing screen read. My chest tightened. Nkem's eyes darted to the phone, then back to me. Her hands clutched her towel tighter, as if the call itself was a hand pulling at her. I reached out, but she whispered, "Don't touch it." Her voice cracked, trembling. "Please, Femi, don't answer that call." My mind raced. Why was a doctor calling again at this hour? Why was her voice filled with fear, not relief? I wanted to shout, to demand answers, but her fragile state held me back. She looked like someone standing at the edge of a cliff, and one wrong word could push her over. The phone stopped ringing. The silence was louder now. My eyes burned, but I swallowed my questions. "Nkem," I said softly, kneeling, trying to meet her eyes. "Whatever it is, you're not alone. Even if it's the worst thing in this world, I need to know. Please." Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth to speak. Then the phone buzzed again. A new message flashed across the screen. From Dr. Musa, "If you don't come tomorrow, the truth will come out without you." Nkem's face turned white. Her body shook as if the walls themselves had betrayed her. She whispered, barely audible, "It's not only my secret anymore, Femi. It's bigger than me. If you knew, you might never look at me the same again." The buzzing stopped, and before I could ask her what she meant, a loud knock rattled the front door of our apartment. "Nkem," a deep male voice called out from the corridor. Her eyes widened in horror. "Femi, don't open," she whispered, clutching my arm with shaking fingers. The knock came again, harder this time. "Open this door now." The bathroom filled with a silence heavy enough to crush us both. The knock shook the thin wooden door of our Surulere apartment again. Louder, angrier. "Open this door," the voice thundered. Nkem's nails dug into my arm. Her towel slipped slightly, but she didn't care. Her whole body trembled. "Femi, please, don't move. Don't answer him," she whispered, her breath hot and uneven against my shoulder. "Who is that?" I asked in a low voice, though my own chest hammered. Her lips trembled. "If you open that door, everything will scatter. Our marriage, your peace, my life, everything." The knock came again, followed by a kick this time. The front door groaned in its hinges. "Madam Nkem, you can't hide forever." The sound sent a sharp chill through the house. I turned back to her, confused, my mind racing with questions. Who was this man? Why was he calling her name with such certainty? What secret tied her to a doctor? And now, this stranger, at our door. Before she could answer, the buzzing phone on the sink lit up again. Another message from Dr. Musa. "Don't let him in. If he enters, the truth will destroy both of you tonight." Nkem's face collapsed into tears. She whispered one sentence that made my blood run cold. "Femi, that man outside is not a stranger. He is the reason I cry every night after we make love." The knock came again, this time shaking the whole frame. And then the man outside shouted words that made my heart stop. "Nkem, if you don't open this door right now, I will tell your husband everything myself." We froze in the steam and noise of our broken bathroom. The man outside kept knocking. The sound was strong enough to shake dust from the doorframe. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my fingers. "Don't open," Nkem whispered again. "Please." The knocking stopped. Instead, footsteps moved slowly down the corridor. The man paused near our window, as if listening. Then, the footsteps went down the stairs. We stood still for 10 long seconds. The phone on the sink was dark now. The tap still ran. The thin red line on the tiles was almost gone. I turned off the water. Nkem shivered. I took a dry towel from the rack and wrapped it around her shoulders. Her skin was cold, like she had been standing in rain. I wanted to ask 100 questions, but her face told me to go gently. "Sit," I said. We sat on the edge of the tub. Steam slid up the mirror and vanished. "I won't open the door for him," I said. "Not now. Not ever. Unless you say so." Her eyes filled again. "Thank you." We moved to the living room. I shut the bathroom door carefully, the broken latch hanging like a loose tooth. I pushed a chair under the handle of the front door. It was a small chair, but it made me feel like I had done something. I checked the windows. I switched off the TV. The house felt tired. We sat on the floor with our backs to the sofa. I gave her warm water. She took small sips and held the cup like it was a baby bird. I am not angry, I said. I'm scared, but I am here. She nodded slowly. I know. Tomorrow, I said, we go to Loot together. Her fingers tightened around the cup. She stared at the door. He will follow us. Then he will see me. I said, and I will see him. Her lips trembled. Femi, you don't have to tell me everything tonight, I said. But tell me one thing. Is the blood because you are hurt now? She shook her head. It started last week. Stress makes it worse. The doctor knows. I breathed out, but my chest was still tight. Okay. She placed the cup down. There was a night before we married that broke my mind, she said, each word slow, as if walking on glass. I tried to lock it away, but marriage is close. Close wakes memories. The bathroom is where I hide, so you don't see me break. I closed my eyes for a moment. I did not ask for the name of that night. When she wanted, she would say it. I put my hand on hers. She did not pull away. Who is the man? I asked softly. Her throat moved. He is part of that night, she said. He wants me to keep quiet. Dr. Musa, he is helping me speak. We were quiet a long time. I felt helpless and useful at the same time. Useless because I had not seen sooner. Useful because I could still stand here with her. I sent a message to our compound security. Please keep an eye on our door tonight. No visitors. The guard replied. Noted, sir. I checked the peephole. Empty corridor. The bulb outside flickered like a tired eye. We tried to sleep. We did not sleep. At 4:30 a.m. Lagos began to wake. A plantain seller's voice floated in from the street. A danfo honked too early. The sky turned from black to grey. At 6:00 a.m., I brewed tea. The smell filled the small room. Nkem sat on the rug with her knees up, chin on her arms. I put the tea beside her. She smiled a little. The smile was weak, but true. At 7:10 a.m., I wore my powder blue senator. Nkem tied a simple headscarf. She packed a small bag. Hospital card. Tissues. A book. The folded letter with my name. She did not give me the letter. She did not hide it either. It lay face up in the bag, like a quiet thing, waiting for its time. At 7:30 a.m., we stepped into the corridor. The morning light made the paint on the wall look older. I locked the door. We went down the stairs together. I kept my body between her and the open gate. The street outside was already busy. We took a bolt to LUT to be safe. The driver played worship music under his breath and nodded as if the song spoke to him alone. Nkem held my hand, fingers cold but steady. At Ojuelegba, traffic slowed. I glanced in the side mirror. An Okada wove between cars. A man in a dark cap rode behind the bike man. He leaned this way, then that, like he had no real destination, just a shadow to follow. I felt my stomach tighten. Don't look back, I said softly. But someone may be following. Nkem squeezed my hand, but kept her face forward. I know, she whispered. We reached Lutech a little after 8:00 a.m. The main building stood big and serious. Nurses in neat uniforms walked fast. People waited on benches, tired and hopeful at the same time. The smell of disinfectant and warm air mixed. We signed in at the desk. The receptionist smiled, without looking up too much. Second floor, women's health, she said. We climbed the stairs. My legs felt heavy. At the landing, I looked through the glass. The Okada man, in the dark cap, parked by a kiosk and pretended to buy a drink. He lifted the bottle to his lips, but did not drink. His eyes stayed on the entrance. On the second floor, a nurse showed us a small room with bright chairs and a soft poster that said, "You are safe here." It made me want to cry. We sat together. My hand never left hers. After 5 minutes, a tall man with gentle eyes and a grey beard stepped in. "Femi and Nkem?" he asked. "Yes," I said, standing. "I am Dr. Musa," he said. His voice was calm in a way that made the air slow down. He shook my hand in both of his, then sat with us. "Thank you for coming together," he said to me. He turned to Nkem. "You did a brave thing by not being alone." Nkem nodded, without a voice. "I know the night you speak of," he said softly. "I know it because you trusted me with it. Today we will not rush. Today we will make a small plan. Small plans make big paths." I felt my shoulders drop a little. "Thank you, sir," I said. He asked Nkem about the bleeding. She answered in small pieces. He asked about sleep. He asked about food. He listened more than he talked. When he looked at me, it was not like a policeman. It was like a teacher who wanted to help a child tie a shoe. "There are tests we started," he said. "Some results are back. It is not dangerous, but we must reduce stress and watch closely. We will also give you a counselor to walk with you." Nkem breathed out. I did too. Dr. Musa folded his hands. "There is also the matter of the man," he said, his voice steady. "I believe he is trying to scare you into silence. We do not let fear lead this room." I leaned forward. "He was at our door last night," I said. "He may be outside now." The doctor nodded once. "Security is on this floor. If he comes up, they will speak to him. If he tries to enter, we call the police. You are not alone." Kem's eyes filled. "Thank you," she whispered. Dr. Musa turned to me. "Femi, there are parts of Nkem's story that are hers to tell," he said. "But there is one part I can help with today, so that you do not drown in questions. The man outside his name is Kelechi. He is not a stranger to Nkem's past. He is also not a stranger to the world you walk in." I frowned. "What do you mean?" The doctor paused. He looked at me as if measuring how much truth my chest could carry at once. "He works close to you," he said. "Closer than you think." I felt heat in my face. "At the hub?" I asked. "In Yaba?" Before he could answer, there was a sharp knock on the clinic door. A nurse leaned in, breath quick. "Doctor, I am sorry," she said. "A man downstairs is asking for Mr. Femi. He says he is family. He has been calling your phone, sir." My phone buzzed in my pocket at that exact second. I pulled it out. Unknown number. "Femi, it's me. Open the main entrance. We need to talk about your wife and what she took from me." My fingers went cold. I looked at the doctor. He gave a small nod that meant, "Do not move without thinking." The nurse added, "He knows your company name. He says you know him from deliveries." Nkem gripped my hand so hard it hurt. I walked to the small window and looked down toward the entrance. The man in the dark cap had taken it off now. I could see his face clearly. My stomach dropped. I knew him. He was my supervisor's cousin, the one who sometimes visited the hub, who smiled with too many teeth, who knew everyone's shifts, who once slapped a rider for scratching his car. He looked up at the window as if he felt my eyes on him, and then he raised his phone and typed something fast. My phone blinked again. "Unknown number. Open the entrance, Femi. If you don't, I will send you the video." The room seemed to tilt. Nkem's breath hitched. Dr. Musa stood up, his calm now firm. "Do not open," he said, but my thumb hovered over the screen. "A video? Of what? Of which night?" The phone buzzed again, and the first frame of a video preview blinked on my screen, and my own voice, from some dark place and some forgotten time, echoed in my head. "If you open the wrong door, everything scatters." I did not press play. Not yet. My thumb shook above the phone screen. The preview box sat there, frozen, a tiny doorway into something I wasn't sure I wanted to see. Kem clutched my arm, as if pressing hard enough would stop me. "Don't," she whispered. Her voice cracked. "Please, Femi, don't open it here." But the man outside already knew he had me. His figure leaned against the hospital gate, too relaxed for someone bluffing. He looked like a hunter who had set a trap and was just waiting for the animal to step in. Dr. Musa placed a calm hand on my shoulder. Listen carefully, Femi. If you open that video here, in this state, it will not help you or her. He wants shock. He wants to control your reaction. Do not give him that power. But what if it's my throat locked? What if it's something I can't unsee? The doctor's eyes were steady. Then you should not unsee it alone. Nkem's eyes brimmed over. She turned her face away, ashamed. It's me in that video, she whispered. That's what he's holding. The words slammed into me like an iron gate closing. My first instinct was denial. No, not my wife. But the pain in her voice told me it was true. My chest felt heavy, but I forced my voice to stay low. Nkem, what kind of video? Her fingers trembled against mine. The night I tried to tell you. Before we married, he was there. He was part of it. They filmed it. The air left my lungs all at once. For a second, the hospital walls seemed to bend around me. My mind threw up pictures. I didn't want men's laughter. Her tears. The cruel red light of a camera. I wanted to tell you, she cried softly. Every time. I wanted to. But I was scared you would leave me before I could find the courage. So I ran into the bathroom. And I cried instead. Because in there, at least, I could drown the sound. Her words were sharp, raw, like glass underfoot. Dr. Musa stepped between us gently, like someone protecting both from a storm. This is not the end of your marriage, he said firmly. This is the end of hiding, Femi. If you walk out now, you hand her back to men like Kelechi. If you stay, you fight together. Downstairs, the man Kelechi shifted his weight, now pacing like a lion, testing the cage bars. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. If you don't come down in 5 minutes, I'll airdrop the file to everyone in the waiting hall. Nkem gasped. She buried her face in her scarf. The shame on her skin was almost visible, like heat waves. I gritted my teeth. For the first time in years, my calm broke. He won't touch her again, I said, my voice low and rough. Dr. Musa raised a hand quickly. Careful, Femi. Men like him want you to act out of anger. If you fight him with fists, he wins. If you fight him with sense, he loses. What sense? I shot back. He has a video. He has my wife's tears in his pocket. The doctor's gaze didn't waver. Law. Evidence. Protection. We are not powerless. He turned to Nkem. Do you trust me? Through her tears, she nodded. Good. Then, for today, Kelechi will not decide how this story goes. We will. Another knock came at the clinic door. Louder this time, impatient. The nurse's anxious voice followed. Doctor, he's insisting. He says he won't leave until he speaks to the husband. The room's air thickened. Dr. Musa leaned close to me. You have two choices, Femi. Open the door and let chaos swallow you both. Or stand still. Let me call security and the police. And face him on ground where he cannot twist the rules. Kem sobbed, gripping my sleeve. Please, don't let him in. Please. I stood there, caught between rage and reason, between my wife's breaking voice and my own burning chest. Another message flashed. Last chance, Femi. Open, or the world sees what your wife has been hiding. I looked at the door. It shook under another hard knock. I looked at Nkem. Her face was pale, her eyes wide, her body trembling. I looked at Dr. Musa. His steady hand rested on the table, calm like a lighthouse in a storm. My fist clenched around the phone. And then, with a breath that tasted like smoke, I said, Doctor, call the police. Now. The knock on the clinic door stopped. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then, outside in the corridor, Kelechi's voice rang out, deep and mocking. You think police can save her? Ask her what she owes me, Femi. Ask her why she never told you. Or better, let me show you. And just as the nurse gasped, every phone in the waiting room outside pinged at once. The video had been sent. The sound of phones pinging outside hit me like a hammer. A ripple of gasps and murmurs swept through the waiting hall beyond the clinic door. Someone muttered, Jesus Christ. Another hissed under their breath. Feet shuffled, screens lit faces in pale blue glow. Nkem collapsed against me, her body shaking violently. No, no, God, please. Her sobs tore through the room. My blood boiled. I wanted to storm into that hall, snatch every phone, crush them under my feet, and drag Kelechi into the ground. But Dr. Musa's voice cut through my rage. Femi, listen to me. His tone was sharp now, no longer gentle. If you step out angry, you will give him the show he wants. If you stay calm, you take his power. Decide now. The clinic door swung open before I could answer. A security guard hurried in, radio crackling on his belt. Behind him, I caught sight of Kelechi's smug face as he leaned on the corridor wall, arms folded. He was enjoying the chaos he had unleashed. I stepped forward, fists clenched. Nkem tried to pull me back, her tears wetting my sleeve, but Dr. Musa moved first. He walked straight into the hallway, his voice firm and commanding. Everyone, put your phones down. This video was shared without consent. It is a crime. Security, seal the doors. Police are already on their way. His authority cut through the whispers. Nurses rushed in, ushering people back, blocking anyone from recording further. Some ashamed faces lowered their phones. Kelechi smirked. Police? He laughed. Do you think Lagos police care about your hospital rules? That woman belongs to me. Ask her what she promised me the night she... Enough. My voice cracked like thunder. I stepped into the hallway, my chest on fire, my eyes locked with his. She belongs to no one but herself. Not you, not your lies. And today, you answer for what you did. For the first time, Kelechi's smile faltered. Behind me, Nkem stood in the doorway, trembling but upright, her scarf slipping. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried down the corridor. You hurt me. You tried to bury me in shame. But today, I will not hide again. Gasps rose from those listening. Some women shook their heads, muttering prayers. A nurse wrapped an arm around Nkem's shoulders. Kelechi's face darkened. You think anyone will believe you? Look at them, they've seen the video. Dr. Musa turned to the crowd. Yes, you've seen it. You've seen a woman violated, humiliated, and forced to carry this shame in silence. But today, you also see her courage. Remember that when the police arrive. The guard's radio crackled. Team moving in. Back up on the way. For the first time, fear flickered in Kelechi's eyes. He shifted, glancing toward the exit. I took one step closer. Run if you want. But this time, Lagos will know your name. You won't hide in shadows anymore. He sneered, but the confidence was slipping. Boots echoed up the stairwell, 2 policemen appeared, hands firm on their batons. Kelechi's smirk crumbled as they closed in. Kem leaned into me, her body weak, but her voice steady. Femi, I'm sorry for hiding. But thank you for breaking the door. My throat tightened. I kissed the top of her head. You don't have to cry in bathrooms anymore, I whispered. Not while I'm here. The policeman pulled Kelechi forward, his protests swallowed by the crowd. The waiting hall buzzed with low voices, some sympathetic, some still in shock. But Nkem stood taller, no longer hiding. Dr. Musa nodded at us, his calm restored. This is only the beginning, he said gently. But today, you won. I held my wife's hand as we walked out of the clinic together. Lagos traffic roared outside, loud and alive. For the first time since our wedding, I felt the noise was on our side. And as the sun broke through the clouds, I realized love is not silence. Love is breaking doors when you must. If this story touches your heart, do well to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to let me know the city you are watching from. Stay blessed.